Yeah, Joe.
Listen, turn it sideways.
What's up, guys?
Okay.
There we go. Hold on.
Turn it sideways. Let it go. There you go. Normal human beings.
That's got to be okay.
No, it doesn't. Keep it.
Oh, you've got a helper.
Come on. I do. I need one. I'm a technological Neanderthal here. Oh, this isn't working. This is not.
If you want, you can hold it. It's up to you.
There we go. Here I am.
All right, we're good.
Hey, Joe. So we're just going to do a quick introduction. My name is Ben Davies. I'm the superintendent at Walnut Lane Golf Club for the first tee of Greater Philadelphia. And Joe, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Joey D. I'm here at John Byrne's as well. I've just been adopted by the first tee of Greater Philadelphia. I'm happy to be part of the family.
Very good. So I guess until we get any questions, we'll just kind of see what's going on and tell me what you did kind of today. What's going on at your golf course?
Well, we finished up today putting some of that pre-emergent out on the golf course. And it was a lot easier with no golfers out here. So just driving the tractor around, just spreading stuff like just crazy. There's a big cloud of dust behind me. It's great.
Yeah, that's always fun to put down. What are you using? Are you using Ronstar or something similar?
Something similar, Ron. Sorry.
Okay. Well, last night
like cavalcade stuff.
You got good timing on that because we've got some rain coming in. So that's
poured here yesterday.
Yeah, it was crazy here too. We got a lot of rain, which was good. We've got all kinds of new seed down on the golf course, so that's perfect for us.
Beautiful.
So, well, let's see. So we've got our first question. How did you get into turf management, Joe?
Well, I got into turf management because I liked golf. I think that's a question. That's a question from, I think, Anthony. Anthony asked that question.
Yeah, we've got Rebecca and Anthony asking so far.
So that's okay. So I used to play golf here 3 days a week. All I did full time was I was a DJ back in 2000, like 96 to 2004, and golf became very expensive for me. So I was playing golf out here one day. I talked to a maintenance guy. I didn't come from a long line of superintendents, anybody in the lawn industry. I had no experience at all with it. And I asked the guy, I said, look, you guys look for help? So he put me to the superintendent, and the guy hired me part-time to come change cups and rake bunkers. So I learned doing that stuff in 2004.
Very good.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, for me, it was I was involved in growing grass and things. I was working for a lawn doctor franchise at the time. I'd been doing that for years and years. I really enjoyed it. I, got the hang of all kinds of different things. And the assistant superintendent position came up at Walnut Lane Golf Club. So I applied for that. Started working there, and kind of, like you said, the rest is history. Took over. I've been there. This will be my 6th season there now. 4th as superintendent. So another question just came in. What would you say is the hardest aspect of managing a golf course? I can think of several different things.
I guess time management would be the first one.
Yeah.
Being that sometimes we're getting hit with a bunch of different things at the same time. And when I went to turf school at Rutgers, I was sent there by a company that took over the golf course at one point in time. Your time management was one of the most key things that they tried to talk to you about. And the schooling kind of helped with that. They gave you so much work, and you just had to manage your time so you could get it all done. And the purpose of it at school was that so you could do it in the real world.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a pretty interesting aspect of the way they taught their classes.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Time management is very difficult. Trying to balance several different guys doing several different things at once can be really tricky. I would also say a really tough part of the job is having to try and use the weather to your advantage.
Timing, yes.
There's a lot of times where you're trying to put down a spray or an application, and you really need to be watered in, or you need something to be dry, and so I'm constantly watching the Weather Channel. I'm constantly looking at updates for weather, and I'm sure that you are too.
We're better weathermen than the weathermen. To be honest.
I would agree 100%. I don't know how they keep their jobs, to be honest with you.
I have people ask me what the weather's going to be. They don't even go to the news.
Yeah, right. Yeah, me too. And I'm constantly just like telling people that don't ever even ask. Like, oh, by the way, The weather today is going to be this and that.
And they're like, huh? How do you know? I didn't say that on the news.
Because I'm constantly looking.
Yeah.
Let's see what's out there. What's your favorite part of the job?
My favorite part of the job, I love being outside. I love the outdoors. I love being just being able to take care of the grounds that the opportunity was given to me, to be able to make it look like something and have people appreciate your work. It's kind of, a lot of people like a pat on the back, and you want to do it. You want to give off a good, you want to put out a good product so that people are raving about it. And it's difficult when things don't go our way, and we there's some things we can't control, and we get beat up for that as well. So, there's a love-hate relationship there.
Oh yeah. I agree. Again, I think like being outside is obviously a plus. It's nice to just be able to get fresh air all day and work. And another thing that I really like about it is like instant gratification. Like you see a problem and you fix it and you walk away happy. Mowing grass is just something I get a kick out of. You see something that needs to be maintained, you fix it, and all of a sudden it looks awesome. So I take a lot of pride in that, and I know you do too. Like just seeing something that needs to be done, solving a problem, and then moving on to the next one. There's always something else. So,
Anthony, I'm a technological Neanderthal.
I saw. What's your favorite hole on your golf course?
So hold on. I'm sorry. I'm just getting a little. So, how do I scroll to the side? Like they said, swip the screen.
So yeah, you can. All right, let's.
Because I can see me looking at the question. Hey, in the comments and the questions, just tell me how to do this. Do I swipe?
Not sure.
I don't think it's not working if we swipe. Swipe to the side. No, it's not working. Maybe you have to do it, Ben. Ben, when you swipe, can you see the?
Yeah.
Are you looking at the pop-up?
Yeah, so I can read through the questions. I'll kind of moderate.
I mean, I can see them too, but you see me looking at the screen like this.
Yeah. Okay, I'll answer as many as we can. They kind of pop up and they go, but let's see where we. So yeah, the last question that was asked is what's the favorite hole on your golf course? I can tell you the favorite hole for me at Walnut Lane is hole number 15. It's a little dogleg right, long. It's one of our longest holes, and it just kind of, the layout of it when we cut it nicely. And just kind of, it's right on the road. It just kind of pops. So for me, ever since I've gotten there, it's always kind of been one that stands out to me. It's a pretty hole. And when we cut it right and when we do everything right to it, it really shines on the golf course.
Now, my favorite hole here, it used to be number 8. It used to be almost a picturesque hole. It's a par 3, but when I first got here, there was a fairway there on a par 3. I know it sounds weird. So it was just a giant approach.
Okay.
Right. And it was up slightly uphill, had pine trees framing out the picture, and underneath you could see the pine straw. And we had a lot of people back then when I first started here. It was like 7 or 8 guys on the crew, which those days are gone. And we were able to maintain underneath the trees. So it was like the green grass, then the brown straw, the trees, everything was limbed up. It looked awesome.
Yeah.
And when I first got here, as just happened this past off season, we had brand new bunkers. So it looked really, really good from the tee box. So as I was here, I had some superintendents kind of go, that's not they didn't agree with having a longer approach. It was like, why is there a fairway on a par 3? So I guess to save money on budget, they took it out. They let it grow in, and now it's just, it hasn't been maintained as far as we control. So now it's going to be difficult to get that back if we have that discussion down the road with the boss man.
It's all about dollars and cents sometimes.
Right.
Let's see. Here's a good one. How are you adapting to the pandemic, not having any golfers on the golf course every day? Again, for me, I think I kind of like it. I actually really like it. It's really nice to be able to get things done that we've never been able to get done before. And the hard part of it is that now you got all these people that are out there walking and riding their bikes and walking their dogs. And kind of, they're not in our way golf-wise, so we can still do all kinds of neat things that we never were able to do before. But I spend half my day at this point like, hey, you're not supposed to walk on the green. Like, you're not supposed to ride your bike or pogo stick on the green. So it's been an interesting adaptation. It's kind of lonely sometimes because I'm used to having everybody from the first tee at the office and kind of going in and saying hi and making small talk with everybody. But in the aspect of being able to get things done, it's been kind of nice.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with being out there and there's not a soul out there, it's very interesting. It's surreal. it's kind of the way we envisioned it. And I talked to my mechanic, who's the only person I'm going to answer a question in this answer. I have just me and my mechanic right now. There's only two of us on the crew, but we sit out there and I'm like, this is what it's like to work at a country club on Mondays.
Yeah, right.
They're closed on Mondays. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, we're closed. They're closed on Mondays so they can get some sort of maintenance things done. Public golf, we're open every day.
Yeah.
So when we got to do the same things, we got to, kind of go around the golfer and, try to stay out of their way the best we can.
Yeah. Let's see. What would you say is the biggest project that you've done on your golf course? It's a tough one. I know. I was trying to think because there's so many little different projects that we do. I can tell you, for me, I've been tasked. Our golf course has been, before I got there, before the first tee took it over, we were overrun. Like, they just didn't cut anything. They didn't spray any weeds. They didn't do anything. So over the past couple of years, we've been really trying to get rid of all the weeds, all the crabgrass, all the goosegrass, all the broadleaf weeds that are there. So that's been a real challenge. It's kind of just spray, and then seed. So that's been my biggest challenge, and it's ongoing. It's not done yet. It's always gonna, it's always gonna. If we drove,
it's gonna be an ongoing.
Yeah.
So weed maintenance, you would say weed management has been your biggest, longest project that you would claim?
Yeah, I would say it's just never ending. It's one of those things that I'll be doing forever, spraying weeds and trying to grow in some good grass. So,
I mean, coming from a position where not a lot of money was spent on projects, it was do what you could with what you got.
Sure.
The improvements that we made here when I first got here were more of the aesthetics. Maybe put in an area that was mostly run over by golf cart traffic in like a corner where people just kept cutting corner.
Yeah.
We ended up putting I don't want to call it a garden, but some plantings and some with some cobblestone just to make it something so they wouldn't drive on it. And it also added to the aesthetics of the hole. It framed out a little bit more on the tee box area, looked a little nicer. I've done several areas like that. Maybe take behind a green that didn't have anything behind it except another tee and put tall grasses behind it.
Okay.
So when the season hit, they, once they cut them all down in the fall, they come back up and it frames the hole out. Now,
yeah,
golfers don't like that if they're long because then they're stuck in the weeds. But
well, we can't do everything for the golfers, right?
Yeah, they get mad and then they see they jump in there and it's all laying down.
Yeah. Let's see. Rebecca wants to know, do you have golf course pets? I know I've got 2 cats that are supposed to be there to eat the mice and do all that, but they don't. They eat the cat food that we provide for them. Yeah. Occasionally they'll bring in a chipmunk or so, and they want to let it go in your office and let it run around and, scare you. So I've got 2 cats. How about you?
I have, I'm a crazy cat lady, so I have 1 cat, and she's the most spoiled cat I've ever had.
Yeah, I know. I've talked to you a couple different times, and you said, "Oh, well, I got to go into the office tomorrow because I got to make sure I feed the cat." So,
yeah, days off, I come here to feed the cats.
Yeah, I know. Like, for me, it's like, here, I'm gonna fill up an extra bowl of food because I'm not gonna be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Anthony.
I know I spoil like my shop cats as well. Let's see. Somebody, what kind of cool things are we able to do now that we probably wouldn't normally be able to do this time of year?
Like you did on your volunteer day, where you put the railroad ties around some tee areas.
Yeah.
We had purchased some wood late last year to do some of those things over the winter. And we've been able to do that and add soil because a lot of the erosion from golf carts driving up, tee boxes are usually a little more elevated. So the golfers continue to drive, kill the grass, and then every time it rains, it washes more soil away.
Yeah.
So now you have like a divot or like a big, and it's just it doesn't look very nice. I'm like, oh, and they just keep driving up. Next thing you know, they're on the tee box. If you let it go long enough, they're driving up on the tee.
Yeah, very similar. That's the same exact problem that we were having a couple of years ago, and we started to do little by little those areas where people will they don't stop where there's a obvious tee box, so you have to make it even more obvious by putting a giant piece of wood there, and then make it so that they just can't drive over it.
Right. And with nobody here, we've been able to level off a couple tee boxes that over the years have become concave, and to maybe smooth it out. And since nobody's playing on it, it's not going to interrupt play. So hopefully we can get some grass to grow on it before we reopen in the spring. And also other areas, when we put the wood, we backfilled that side to bring the level of soil up. So now we're going to get grass growing on it again. And then in 10 years, we'll take the wood out, and then it'll all happen again.
Yeah.
Job security. Job security.
That's what I use that line a lot too. It's like, well, the weeds are going to keep growing. It's job security. Let's see. Are there any other superintendents that help you both in the area? Who are they, and what others will be willing to help? I know we get all kinds of help from everybody. The volunteer day, usually it's in the fall, October, early November. We've got superintendents that come from all over the area. We get help all the time from the ACE Club. They reach out to us constantly with equipment and extra supplies that they maybe, for them, they're getting rid of stuff. And for us, it's a lot of times it's better than the stuff that we have. So that's a big help for us. I'm sure that the ACE Club's helped you out a little bit.
Across the street, we have the Tarzell Frankfurt Country Club.
Yeah.
It's now Union League. And I get some help from them, which is nice because they have a lot more people than I do. So sometimes they'll send over some guys that give us a hand on a project that takes a little bit more than the two of us.
Yeah.
Also, the superintendent that was here before me, I can call on him at times to get information on things that maybe I have forgotten or that he had done in the past that I want to try to replicate and see. And, I can call him if I have questions because we don't know everything and I don't claim to know everything. So using and reaching out to other superintendents is always a great resource. It's a pretty tight-knit community, and I really enjoy having that. I have some friends that I can call on and say, hey, man, what are you doing right now? Like, are you seeing certain things? Are you seeing bug issues? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing that? And it's all about timing. We can look at the plant life, the tree life. There's all kinds of things online, resources. So, yeah, reaching out to other superintendents, Brian Mazie across the street, Steve Alderman, who was the superintendent here before me, I can reach out to him anytime I want, and he's always willing to help.
Yeah, it's great to have that connection with a couple different guys. There's a lot of times that you think you're going to do something, and you know it's right, it feels right, it's the right thing to do, but you're like, just better make sure. I'll just double check with somebody else.
I have a question here.
Yeah,
it says, who broke the first machine at Byrne this year?
I know the answer
where
to
that came
that.
from.
I know the answer.
Who wrote that?
That's Rebecca.
Oh, we're gonna give that honor to Anthony. Although he didn't do it on purpose, he was helping me out, cutting a little rough, and the hydraulic line blew on the fourth tee box, and he wasn't happy about it. But
it would have happened to you. It would have happened to you if it wasn't him. Right, it would have broke the next day anyway.
It would have broken on us if it wasn't him driving. It would have been me driving, or it would have been the mechanic driving.
It's like no good deed goes unpunished, right?
No, exactly.
Yeah, he's trying to help you out, and then everybody.
He felt terrible.
Next week, back in, baby.
Yeah, he's coming back next week. He said, "I'm gonna
try again."
Yeah, he cut around the one surround.
I got hired, fired, and rehired in the same day.
Yeah, you realize you got nobody else.
Right. I'm like, yeah, come on back.
Let's see. Here's a question. What's the one thing that you wish people would understand better about taking care of the golf course? For me, I think it's that the greens aren't your playground. It drives me nuts when I see a golfer that wants to hit 10 shots, and those are the same golfers that don't tend to fix their divots or their ball marks. The guys that are there that really understand how hard you're working and what you're trying to do, you see them rake a bunker. So there's times that I'll drive up and I'll say, hey, thanks for doing that. It doesn't happen that often. So I'll actually appreciate those people that are actually, they're making an effort. So the people that just think that they can do whatever they want and we're going to just clean up after it, they don't realize how much work actually goes into it.
I would have to agree with you on that. There's really nothing that bothers you more than someone kind of disrespecting your property. We would call it disrespect, and it's almost like we try to think the way that they're thinking, like, oh, they'll take care of it. This is my playground. Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
ball marks are issues all the time. You have some people complain about them. I fix 20 a day. Well, if that was the case, then there would be none.
Yeah. If everybody fixed 20 a day.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating, but it's part of the job. And again, job security.
That's right.
Let's see. There's a question here. Is there a regular day in the office for you?
No. There's always a challenge. There's always something that comes up, whether it be a lost bill in the shuffle. It could be on that end, on administrative type of stuff. It could be I broke the valve on this hole. We got to go shut the water off and fix the valve. This head's not coming up. Hey, the mower's broke.
There's always something.
Yeah.
There's always some. There's some days too that I'll be on my way into work. I'll be on the drive in, and I'll say, okay, I think today's going to be a normal, easy day. And then you show up, and it all just crashes and burns.
Blows up. The motor won't start.
You show up, and something won't start, and then a reel falls off, and so you almost jinx yourself when you go in thinking that way. You always got to be on your toes, and you always got to be ready to act because there's going to be something that goes wrong. It's inevitable.
Right.
So
Agreed.
yeah. Let's see. Rebecca says, "What kind of bugs can attack your golf course?" The answer is, "What kind of bugs can't?" Right.
I guess weevils.
Weevils is the big one.
Is the big one because they go after the greens. You know, we can get grubs and grub problems, but they're pretty easy because they come to the same place every year.
Yes.
I mean, and if they're not in the fairway in places like this, it's the rough. It doesn't necessarily. It's not a big issue because it's not a big enough area. You know, I'd have to say 200 square feet of areas that I see the animals dig up in the spring and the fall. I mean, it's not enough because there's a tolerance level of what you want to spray. I mean, what's the point of spraying something that's only 200 square feet over the 88 acres that are out here?
Yeah.
There's a little spot there.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. For those people that might not know, weevils are kind of like a beetle type of bug that have different stages. They're kind of always on the attack. And what they do is they kind of feed on the roots of the plant. So by the time you see that there's weevil damage, it's kind of already too late sometimes. It'll kind of kill the grass from the root up. And so what we have to do for that, we're constantly spraying different products during different types of the year. And there's kind of signs that we know to look for to know when to spray for what. So weevils, I agree, is definitely the biggest challenge bug wise.
They're too small to wobble. I see that. Do weevils wobble? Yeah, they don't.
No, they don't. They are a pain. Let's see. What does a shotgun start mean on a golf course?
Oh, you're gonna answer that question?
Well, typically a shotgun start for a tournament. It's not what some people think. It's when you're all they're spread out all over the golf course on different tee boxes, and nobody uses a shotgun anymore. I hope, right? There's no actual shotgun.
But you can't do it in the city. I mean, they can do it across the street. They have a range, but can't do it here.
Yeah. So it's just basically a starting noise to let everybody know that it's time to go off.
A little bird shot it only stings a little.
No, I think they're fine with that. We try to use an air horn, but a pellet gun wouldn't be a bad idea sometimes. Keep people off the greens. How come sometimes when you spray a green, your shoes can get all blue?
Well, that's called tracker dye. We put that in the tank so we don't overspray because our rates are crucial at times for certain types of chemicals. You don't want to overspray a specific area because a chemical can be what we would call in the industry hot. And when it's hot, it means it will burn the grass. So when we spray specific chemicals like some kind of herbicides or growth regulators, you don't want to overlap your spray if your rate is on the higher end because now you're doubling up in one spot and it could cause damage to the turf. So we use what we call tracker dye on top of it, making it look. Oh, that's my phone. That's my phone. Sorry. We can use foam if we have foamers on the end, and those are fine if you're doing it at night and not during play, or before play, because usually it'll dry before the golfers get there. Sometimes they get a little bit of dew and they're complaining that their ball turns a different color, and they're like, "What is that?" Yeah,
I use both. I tend to use foam more because I can see that a little bit clearer than the dye. Most of my sprays are early, first thing in the morning, so I'm out ahead of golf most times. So the foam that I use, and you can actually dilute that down a little bit so it goes away quicker.
Right.
But the blue dye I've also used as a kind of a trick myself to kind of blend when, especially early in the season when you're kind of growing in and you're a little discolored, it kind of makes it blue. I had a guy that used to work for me. His name was Snake, and he used to say, "Turn them blue, make them look better." He always he always thought by putting the dye on the greens it would make them pop and make them for the golfers. So occasionally I'll never put it just dye out, but I'll use that in lieu of the foam sometimes to make it kind of stand out a little bit.
I love dye.
Yeah,
It's my best friend.
do you use it all the time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I tend to use foam more than the dye, but I do mix it up. I do use both.
Right.
So that's why your shoes can get blue if there's dye.
It's non-toxic. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But a lot of times, you got to be careful with what we do put down with
What's in it
with the dye.
Right.
Joe, what's your favorite golf course that you've visited turf-wise?
Well, when I went to Rutgers for their turf program, they took us to Bayonne Country Club, and they used a turf on their greens that's not normally used because it's difficult to keep. It was a velvet bentgrass. If you ever get a chance to look at what velvet bentgrass looks like on a putting surface, it's a little puffy, but it is the densest growing grass you have ever seen. It was so neat to see. And what I really liked about that golf course is it was built on an old dump site up in Bayonne, New Jersey, right on the Hudson. I think it's the Hudson. You can see the Statue of Liberty up there. And we got to walk the golf course, and they don't allow golf carts out there. It was walking only.
That's nice.
And there's berms all around the fairways. So you couldn't see anything around you when you're playing the hole until you were walking, and there was areas where you could see. But it was really neat because when you walk, they actually had berry bushes, like blueberry bushes and things of that nature, so you could snack on the way around the golf course.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we used to have wild raspberries on our golf course. We used to. We had to when we started pushing back the brush and everything. That's funny though. For me, in the area, the probably the nicer turf-wise course that I've been to is the Cricket Club is pretty amazing. Going over there, and they're just on a different level with the crew that they have. They've got tons of guys, and they're all very detailed. I remember being there with my assistant, walking around in the rough, just trying to find a weed, and we couldn't do it. So for me, that's the nicest. There's some real nice courses in the area, but for me, the Cricket Club kind of stands out as the nicest turf-wise.
I'd like to see it someday.
You never been?
Nope.
No, we get you over there. The superintendent over there, Dan Mearsman, helps out with the first tee a lot too. So yeah, I'm sure anytime you want to go over, you can take a look.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I love getting jealous at other guys' golf courses.
Yeah, I do too. I like to go and just check it out and see, talk turf and pick somebody's brain and find out what they're doing.
Right.
So how have you found the first tee kids treat your golf course? Well, you haven't had too many first tee kids over there yet, have you?
No, being that the takeover was in November, there wasn't a whole lot here that I actually had run-ins with. Even when the program was here, I normally wasn't here on those mornings. I would be already gone for the day or came back, and I wasn't here when the kids were here. So I never had any interactions at this point. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can tell you from my experience, a lot of they're all very respectful. A lot of times the pressure of it falls on the coaches to kind of watch them, because a lot of times the kids just don't know. Now, when you see 50 kids up on your putting green, you want to run away. It's a scary thing. Sometimes they say, "Oh, I got to get out of here. I can't watch this." But for the most part, they're respectful. They learn from the coaches how to fix ball marks, how to replace divots. So because of the 9 core values, they're interested in learning what it takes to make the golf course look so nice and how hard we work. So this kind of stuff too, with explaining to them these things, is kind of helpful as well.
All right. So you want to take Becca's question? What's the difference between Bermuda and bentgrass?
Well, they're a lot different. I mean, bentgrass we use on our putting greens. It's a lot of a shorter grass. It's harder to maintain. I mean, what'd you say? I don't really have much Bermuda on my. I have patches of Bermuda on my golf course, but we don't ever seed with it.
Yeah.
Why would we?
I mean, it's a C4 plant, so it's a summertime plant that can, at higher temperatures, can do the word escapes me. I'm sorry, but there's a difference. There's cool season and warm season turfs. One's a C3 plant and one's a C4. There's an extra carbon molecule in there.
Yeah.
And when it's hotter out, it allows the plant to survive in hotter temperatures. The cooler season plants need more water and more when it gets over 85 degrees, the plant tends to shut down.
Yeah.
We tend to use those cool seasons because we're in a transition zone. They call this area. We get kind of both of the seasons, the hot and cold.
And they say it's a lot harder to maintain because we do deal with the extreme hot and the extreme cold.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So and the other question is, what type of grass do we have on our golf course? For me, it's bent grass on our greens. We use a lot of rye, which is kind of an easy grass to pop. It kind of will grow anywhere. And then we're starting to use a lot of fescue, which is a stronger type of grass. It kind of is more durable, more resistant. So we use that in areas in the rough. We actually started putting some fescue on our tee boxes this year. We have some that are in heavy shade areas. So that's kind of where we're going with that. But basically those three types. We have bent grass, ryegrass, and fescue.
Yeah, on our greens we have we have a mix of bent grass and poania.
Well, yeah.
Grass. I mean, we both have it.
Yes.
It's something we can't. We don't want to maintain it as a weed. Some really nice country clubs actually can get the seed for that stuff because it's a great putting surface if it's maintained perfectly. But it's a weaker turf. It's not very strong and it doesn't like the hot. But if you're on top of it, you can maintain a pretty solid putting surface with what most would consider a weed.
Yeah.
Now remember, a weed, the definition of a weed, is just a plant out of place. It's an undesirable plant. So
Like
not everything's a weed. If you like dandelions, it's not a weed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can have
It's
a whole lawn full of dandelions if you want.
It's a salad for some people.
Let's see. I know this next question is, did you spray your pre-emergent yet? I have not. I know we talked about it before that you've been putting down some of your granular pre-emergent. So if you want to explain that, I'll explain kind of why we're holding off a little bit longer. I have a type of a window that I'm looking in. You had good timing with yours, like we talked about with the rain we had overnight.
Yeah, I just did all my rough. I did all the rough areas and stuff. I did a couple tees that I don't have a lot of irrigation on, because when I do spray dimension on my fairways and my tees, I want to water it in if we don't have weather coming our way that can do that.
Right.
So it's all about a timing thing at that point, and I'll probably do it within the next 2 weeks, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably going to be a little bit early. I mean, obviously, depending on the weather coming up, we're going to go a little earlier than normal. Usually it's the first week of May-ish, and then again mid-June with a split application instead of putting it all out at one time. But with the window and the degree days that we use and the temperatures being what they are and soil temperatures rising, probably be best to start putting it down very shortly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. When I saw that you were putting it down, I said, oh, that you're getting a good jump on it. For me, since we don't have any golfers out, I kind of took the opportunity to seed a lot of things that I couldn't normally seed. Our tee boxes get beat up really badly. So I took this opportunity to put a bunch of seed down in areas that we normally wouldn't. So I'm kind of holding off. Last year I did my pre-emergent April 20th, I believe was my exact date. And we do a split application as well, Joe, but we do 2 different products at 2 different times.
Okay.
So, and this year I had really good coverage last year as far as goosegrass and crabgrass go, which is our biggest problems. So this year is going to be kind of the same timeline. Probably within the next week or so, I'll be doing my pre-emerge spray. And then we follow up in the middle of May with, like you were putting down your rough, with the Ronstar product. So
right.
That's where we are with that. So I don't see any other questions. So I think we'll get out of here. I know you had a hard day at work today, Joe. I know I did too. So I'm going to go take a shower.
I went home and took one. I live close, so I went home real quick and came out and took a shower.
That's nice.
We went down to FDR today. Did I tell you that?
Oh, no, oh, that's right. You did tell me you were going to FDR today.
We went to FDR today. There are some dandelions growing out of some of the greens.
I believe it. Yeah. Yeah, I did wall to wall. I did some Trimex spray wall to wall on our golf course to kill everything. So balancing that. So, all right, man. Well, good talking to you.
Yeah, same here, man.
And
Hey, everybody, thanks for your questions.
yeah, thanks for everybody out there. And if you have any other questions, yeah, don't forget FDR is closed. I want to just mention that, as is Byrne is closed, as is Walnut Lane, unfortunately. We will be open again, hopefully soon. But until then, everybody stay safe.
I figured that was Eli in there. I saw Rodriguez.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, see you guys later. Thanks
Bye.
for stopping in. Bye.